Good morning, guys, and welcome to my unboxing and review of the Master Grade Gym Cannon Redhead Jaburo Defense Force type. Quite a mouthful. I'm just going to be calling it the Gym Cannon Red for brevity's sake. This is a 2019 Premium Bandai exclusive, and it is a recolor of the 2015 Premium Bandai exclusive, just the standard Master Grade Gym Cannon, which is in turn based on the 2009 Master Grade Gym 2.0. I got this kit on Premium Bandai for $45, which is surprisingly cheap for a modern Master Grade. I mean, I get that it is based on a kit that's based on a 2009 release, but still, for a standard size Master Grade, that's quite a nice price. And for what you get in the box, I believe that's more than a fair price. As you can see here, being a standard Premium Bandai release, this is going to be just in a monochrome red, showing off some what would be pretty cool art of the Gym Cannon just firing off the, I think, 360mm rocket cannon. I think it's the same thing that the Full Armor Gundam has while wielding the Hyper Bazooka. It would be cool if it was in full color, but instead it's in this Premium Bandai monochrome. As you can see here, not that thick of a box. It's going to be pretty average as far as like kind of basic normal size Master Grades go. Not much to speak of on the box. Again, Premium Bandai standard box, so let's just get right into it. Inside the box we get 8 bags of runners, as well as the manual for the standard Gym Cannon from 2015, as well as this new insert specifically for the Redhead version, going over some parts that we aren't going to use for a bunch of runners. As you can see, similar to the Master Grade Full Armor Gundam Blue Color version, we are going to be getting duplicate runners, just in different colors for better color accuracy because of the different color scheme of this kit. It is going to be showing some different assembly instructions for some of the weapons on this kit. I'm not sure if this is a unique beam rifle for this kit, because I was pretty sure the standard Gym Cannon just uses the beam spray gun of the Gym 2.0, so we'll see when I build the kit. And then, of course, we have the decal guide here for the included water slides, being a Premium Bandai exclusive. Looks like it's going to be fairly minimal. Of course, this is going to be going for, I guess, a little more anime accurate / manga accurate, because it was an MSV design kit. So yeah, I'm excited to see how these actually look on the built model. And then, of course, the main manual here is actually going to be a standard Master Grade style manual here in full color, showing off the normal Gym Cannon, whose color scheme actually do like a little bit more than the Redhead version, because it's a lot of red. Pretty much all of the black parts here are just red, including the head, because this is the Redhead version. But yeah. Parts list inside, which is going to be a little different than the Redhead version, because again, duplicate runners for color accuracy. Then of course you get into the build, which is going to be looking pretty standard for a Master Grade. It looks like this is going to be using a lot of the Master Grade Gundam 2.0 frame. I recognize these kind of joints for articulating the shoulders. That is exactly the same as the RX-78 2.0. So yeah, looks like it's going to be a pretty standard build, a little simplified, perhaps because it is a gym design, and the one-year war gyms are fairly simple. Of course, the head unit here showing off the kind of inner frame version without any of the armor, and then the completed version. Then you get into the arms, legs, and then presumably the waist. Yeah, and then the waist. So this is going to be a pretty standard design here. It does look like we're going to be building the core block separately, like this late into the kit, yeah, which is a little odd. Looking at the accessories spread here for the standard Gym Cannon, it does look like the Redhead version is going to receive a different beam rifle as opposed to the standard beam spray gun that came with the normal Gym Cannon. And then just getting into building the weapons, including the Hyper Bazooka, shield, the shoulder cannon, etc. So yeah, it's going to be what looks like a pretty standard Master Grade, nothing too crazy here. And it looks like the Redhead, the main difference besides the color scheme, is going to be the inclusion of a different beam rifle as opposed to the beam spray gun. So, as for the contents of the bags, so we are going to be getting 20 runners, which does sound like a lot, especially for the Gym Cannon, which is a relatively simple Master Grade. But again, a lot of these runners we aren't going to be using many parts from. A lot of them are duplicate runners just for color accuracy, as well as this very tiny foil color correcting sticker sheet, just for some, presumably just for some head cameras here. Always great to see that we don't need any color corrections beyond that. And then, of course, a somewhat small sheet of water slide decals, which is always nice to see, including the usual list of small caution markings, some emblems to indicate that this is part of the Jaburo Defense Force, and then some number marking stickers here in case you want to have like a squad of them and you want to designate different units within the squad, so that's pretty cool. So, as for the runners themselves. Okay, so these runners were printed in January of 2025, starting with runner PC202. So you've seen this runner before because I built a few kits based on the ARC 78-2 2.0. This is, of course, going to be the set of polycaps from that kit, with the, of course, the Master Grade Gym 2.0 that this kit is based on. Also being based on the ARC 78-2 2.0, using many of its runners, it is, of course, going to be using the same polycaps for its inner frame. So starting with runners from 2009's Master Grade Gym 2.0, we have two of runner A here. Of course, one of the runner A's is going to be a copy of most of the other part of runner A. All of the armor parts here that are supposed to be in white are going to be in red, because again, the Jaburo Defense Force Gym Cannon is very red, and the red head, seen here, as the name indicates, has a red head. The only parts that aren't going to be copied are going to be these yellow parts for a number of accent parts, including the Yellow Federation cross for the shield, some blue clear parts for head cameras and the visor, and some black frame parts here. Runner B from the Gym 2.0 is going to be including a number of armor parts, including parts for the front and back of the torso, parts for the bottoms and the front of the feet, some accent parts. I think these are parts for the shoulders and the main kind of body of the shield. Runner C here in very dark, pretty much black color, is going to be many of our frame parts, including inner frame parts for the head, the inner body of what was supposed to be the beam spray gun. I don't know if this is going to be used for the beam rifle for the Jaburo Defense Force Gym Cannon, as well as many inner parts for the Hyper Bazooka. Runner L here, I believe this is the only new runner that comes in this specific version of the Gym Cannon. This runner has a design date of 2016, as opposed to the Gym 2 and ARC 72 2.0's design dates of 2008, and the original Gym Cannon's design date of 2015. This runner is simply labeled Gym 2, so presumably this is going to be using the beam rifle from the Gym 2. I'll double check to see if that's accurate. I'll throw it up on screen now. But yeah, this is going to include parts for our new beam rifle, some clear parts, as well as parts for the backpack. So moving on to runners from the Master Grade ARC 78-2 2.0, runner D here, going to contain the kind of back frame of the shield, as well as parts for the Hyper Bazooka, the beam sabers, and a standing pilot figure. You're going to be getting two of runner E from the ARC 78-2 2.0. Again, duplicate runners for color accuracy. One is going to be in red, one is going to be in white. This is going to contain many armor parts for the legs, arms, the kind of joint caps that goes on the elbows, ankles, and knees, the inner kind of frame kneecap underneath the main kneecap, and some ankle and parts for the ankle armor. Runner F going to be many armor parts in white here, parts for the legs. You see the outer part for the kind of joint armor where the leg connects into the hip. Now we have some arm armor here. I believe some shin armor, the armor for the back of the foot, the armor for the front of the foot. Runner G for some many kind of in-between inner frame and armor parts here for the sides of the legs. I believe these are for the thighs, and we have like the backs of the hands here, all in this very nice kind of black color. A part of runner H, we've seen this full runner before in the Master Grade Full Armor Gundam and the Stormbringer and all that, but this is going to be many inner frame parts from the Master Grade ARC 78-2 2.0, including parts for the hips and torso. This is, of course, going to be in a kind of dark gray ABS. Runner I, also in a very dark gray ABS, going to include many more frame parts, including parts for our hands, inner parts for the shoulders, parts for the arms, parts for the backpack, etc., etc. And runner J here, also in a very dark gray ABS, for more inner frame parts. This is going to be many of the parts for the legs and feet, also including many kind of inner piston details that go in the feet. Next up are a few runners from the original 2015 Master Grade Gym Cannon release, starting with the runner GC A1, GC being Gym Cannon, of course. Again, we get two runners in different colors for color accuracy, one in red, one in a very dark gray, almost black color. This is going to be mostly parts for the backpack. We also have some additional parts for the feet here, but yeah, parts for like things like the back skirt and the feet and all that is going to be in red for the Jaburo Defense Force version, while the parts for the backpack for the cannon are going to be in this very dark gray, almost black color for the like the regular Gym Cannon kind of arsenal. We're going to get GCA2 here for a copy of some parts for like the feet and the knees and things like that. We have runners GCB1 and 2, GCB1 having parts for the torso for the front and the back, and GCB2 being a copy of the left side of GCB1 for this very large lower leg armor that's new for the Gym Cannon. And finally, runner GCB3, this very tiny runner with only two parts in red. This one part presumably for the back of the head for the dual large antennas on the back of the head, as well as the second part, not exactly sure what this is for, presumably also for the head. So yeah, lots of runners in this kit, but a lot of them, again, are duplicate parts. We aren't going to be using many of the parts that are included in the box, but it looks like it's going to be a pretty straightforward build, so I'll see you after the build. Alright, welcome back. Here's the Master Grade Gym Cannon Red, snap built, lightly panel lined because there weren't that many opportunities on it, being a 1 Year War era gym design. Decaled up and top coated using Mr. Hobby premium flat top coat. And yeah, this definitely looks a lot better in matte than it would have looked in gloss or semi-gloss. Again, being a kind of a little more grounded 1 Year War era simplified design. Yeah, it looks a lot better in matte, and it's quite red, but we'll get into that in a bit. Getting right into the build, this is fairly unremarkable. This is, I think, the 4th kit on this channel that I've built that uses the Master Grade Arc 72 2.0 frame as a base. It is a perfectly fine solid frame. It's an ABS frame, so just be careful what you decide to use to paint or panel line it if you choose to do that. Apart from that, it's a pretty solid frame. It does use polycaps. Most of them are not an issue. Again, the only real issue with the Master Grade Arc 72 2.0 frame is the polycap in the hips. The kind of pegs from the legs that slot into it, it's kind of difficult to get it to fit snugly in the peg. More often than not, as you rotate the peg, it will slip out. So just be careful. Make sure it's secure into the polycap before you decide to start articulating it. Otherwise, the leg's going to fall off, and that's not a good time. The parts from the Master Grade Gem 2.0 are mostly exterior, so they're pretty unremarkable to talk about. There's not really any fit issues or anything like that. The parts for the Gym Cannon, there is a slight fit issue with the torso. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but there is a slight gap kind of between the torso and the collar piece that I don't think is supposed to be there, and I couldn't get that little gap to go away. Again, it isn't an issue if it's on the shelf and you're looking at it from like 6 inches away or something. If you get really close to it, you can notice it. Apart from that, not really an issue. Apart from that, there aren't really any fit issues. The only thing to note about the build is that this does actually have a more simplified version of the Arc 78 2.0 frame. The lower legs in particular, there are no outer armor pieces that kind of fit on top of the kind of bare frame. It's almost a little high-grady in that aspect, where it's kind of like just the bare minimum frame and the two halves of the lower leg armor sandwiched together on top of it, and apart from that, it's kind of hollow. So apart from that being a little disappointing, the build is pretty solid. It's about typical for a modern Master Grade. It's a little simplified in terms of complexity for a modern Master Grade. Being based on 2 over 15-year-old kits, the Master Grade Arc 78 2.0 and the Master Grade Gym 2.0. Again, it's a little simplified, being a 1 Year War era design compared to what you would see in a lot of modern Master Grades, but it's perfectly serviceable. There aren't really any issues with it. In terms of aesthetics then, in terms of color accuracy, there are actually 2 different versions of the Gym Cannon Red that you can build inside of this box. There is the Jaburo Defense Force, which is kind of the version on the title and all that, and the version that's being advertised. That's not the version I built. I built the Immortal 4th Team Custom from 0083 Stardust Memory. I forget the name of the pilot. It's the guy that's part of South Burning's team. He pilots the Gym Cannon too. He also pilots this. Aesthetically, the only real differences are the lower forearms on the Immortal 4th Team Custom are in red instead of white, and the collar here on the lower neck and on kind of in front of the head, and it's behind the head. It's kind of hard to see though. The head and the cannon tend to get in the way. You see a little sliver of yellow there. All of that are water slide decals. They are not color accurate out of the box. If you want to build the Jaburo Defense Force version, it is color accurate out of the box, so I won't hold it against this kit. Having a second color scheme you can build this kit in is a bonus. The only thing that isn't color accurate for both out of the box is this little Federation V on the crotch. That is, of course, is molded into the center crotch piece in red. There is a water slide decal that goes on top of it. It fits surprisingly nicely. You do have to make a little cut on the top half so it can fold into the kind of crease of the V. But especially after a top coat, it does fit very nicely. I'm actually surprised at how seamless this looks. It looks really good, much better than like a color correcting sticker would. Apart from that, in terms of aesthetics, this is essentially perfect. I think especially if you like grunt suits, if you like gyms, you should have at least one 1 Year War era gym or something similar on your shelf. The Gym Sniper 2, while cool, I don't think it really counts. The 1 Year War era gym is just so unique in kind of its simplicity compared to a lot of other grunts, especially in like the future of UC. That head in particular, as it swings around, it's a lot softer and less aggressive than a lot of other gym heads. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but again, I like the gym design in general, so even if I don't like this compared to some other gym designs, I still think it's quite good. I really think they perfected the gym design in 0083 with things like the Gym Custom and the Gym Cannon 2. I really hope they make a Master Grade of the Gym Cannon 2 or a 2.0 of the Master Grade Gym Custom. That kit came out in 1999. It's, along with a lot of other 0083 kits, it's super due for a 2.0. But anyway, this kit geometrically aesthetically is essentially perfect. It's very unique. I kind of prefer the color scheme of either the standard gem cannon or the North American front gem cannon. This is very red. It's a little one note, but this was the version that was up on P Bandai when I was looking, so this is the one I got. The standard gem cannon later went up, but I didn't really feel like buying two of the exact same, or almost exactly the same kit. This does come with a one different accessory. I didn't really feel like buying two of what is essentially an identical kit in a different color scheme, so I bought this one. Yeah, aesthetically, very one note. Geometrically then, the gem cannon, the cannon itself is quite long. I wasn't expecting it to be this large. I was expecting it to kind of be around the same size as the Master Grade Full Armor Gundam, if you've seen my video on that. That has a slightly smaller cannon, and this one also sits a lot closer to the head. I don't know how well you can see that. That does actually hamper the articulation quite a bit. It makes it way harder to 360 the head if you want to do that. So yeah, just be careful. One other thing to note, the antennas back here are quite fragile. It's covered up a little bit by the top coat, but one of them does already have a stress mark because I accidentally picked up the head by the antenna at one point, and that was enough to stress it. So again, be very careful you don't snap one of those antennas. Apart from that, the only real kind of armor variances between the Gem Cannon and the standard Gem 2.0, the big one, apart from the torso, of course, with this large cannon that clips onto the kind of collar next to the head, are the lower legs with these large, I guess, bell-bottom pieces of armor that I think in lore is supposed to act to stabilize the Gem while it's firing the shoulder cannon. In practice, I do like how it looks. It does give it a little more bulk. It makes it appear a little more like a full armor Gem without quite getting into like something like a powered Gem territory or anything like that. So yeah, aesthetically, I think this is a very interesting kit, and if you're a fan of grunts, you should definitely consider picking up any One Year War era Gem, perhaps this one, but we'll get into that when I talk about the conclusion later. For a quick size comparison then, here is the Master Grade Gem Cannon Red next to a standard size Master Grade being the Master Grade Gem Sniper 2 White Dingo Team. As you can see, being a One Year War era Gem, this is exactly standard size. It is head height pretty much identical to the Gem Sniper 2. I think the torso is a little bit leaning forward, so it's appearing a little shorter than it actually is. Yeah, there you go. Head height, they're essentially identical, so vertical space on your shelf, this will take up about the same size as a standard size Master Grade. Of course, keep in mind, with this quite large cannon here, it will take up a lot of kind of depth space, but this is the highest kind of setting for the cannon, so it won't take up much more vertical space than this. It won't take up more vertical space than this unless you put it on an action base. In terms of accessories then, here's the Master Grade Gem Cannon Red with everything it comes with. Starting as usual with the hand options, this will of course be using the same hands as the Master Grade RX-78 2.0, so articulated, fully articulated hands. Fingers have 2 points of articulation, one in the base, one in kind of the middle on the knuckle. There's going to be a tab in the palm for more securely gripping onto the weapons. Thumb is on a ball joint, no points of articulation in the middle. These hands are pretty okay. Again, they're fine if the accessories they're holding aren't too crazy. I will see how it handles this rather large shield, because while I've built the Master Grade RX-78 2.0 frame several times on this channel, I have not actually built the normal 2.0. So this is my first time actually using these hands with this large shield. Of course, you will be getting the same action base adapter that you've seen many, many times. It does the job, not really much to say besides that. You will get a standing pilot figure here. I think this is just supposed to be a generic EFF standing pilot figure, no base, so you will have to either kind of sticky tack it down or just scratch build a base or something. You will, of course, get the standard spray gun that came with the Master Grade Gem 2.0. Looks quite nice here in matte with this EFF decal here. Not really much to say. It is quite a simple accessory, no points of articulation on it. The construction of this is very Master Grade-y though, especially compared to the Gem 2 rifle, which we'll talk in a bit. There's an inner frame that all of the kind of rest of the parts of the rifle layer on top of, which means there are pretty much no seam lines on this. It is essentially a perfect recreation of the Gem spray gun in 1/100th scale, so that's always great to see. You will get this very large Gundam shield. I think this is the same shield that comes in the standard RX-78 2.0 large Federation cross here. Looks quite good in matte. Of course, on the back here, I don't know if this is color accurate. I don't know if there's supposed to be some extra gray frame kind of on the inside of this. Just let me know if you know in the comments. There are 2 points here to mount weapons, but the only thing you can really mount in this kit, I think in the RX-78 2.0 you can mount the beam rifle or the hyper bazooka. The only thing here you can mount on these is the hyper bazooka. Of course, there is a point here to connect into the back of the arm, as well as a handle to grip onto. Same thing with the RX-78 2.0 shield. This entire assembly can slide down, although it's a little tight after I top coated it. Yeah, so yeah, it can slide up and down as necessary. This window here can also slide up and down. I have found, without top coating it, it is a little loose, so it does really struggle to stay up when the shield is vertical. But after a top coat, it stiffens up enough that, yeah, it sits here just fine. So yeah, definitely top coat this kit if you definitely top coat the shield if you plan on getting it and planning to keep the window up or something. It does tend to be a little loose without it. You are going to be getting the same Hyper Bazooka that came with the Gym 2.0. I think this is also the same Hyper Bazooka that came with the Master Grade Arc 72 2.0. Again, I don't have that kit. I have not built the Hyper Bazooka that came with that kit, so just let me know. It's not really much to say. It is the standard Hyper Bazooka design. Unlike the real grade, there isn't molded ammo that you can see through on the side, but the handle can articulate for better balancing on the shoulder. I really didn't know how much I appreciated this feature until I built the Easy 8's Hyper Bazooka, and it didn't have that feature, and it was really annoying to pose. So yeah, this should make it quite easy to pose the Gym Cannon Red holding it. But yeah, apart from that, there's also a little tab here that folds out. It's a little hard to get to, but yeah, it folds out. It can clip onto the mounting points on the shield that I mentioned earlier. And then, of course, there is the one new weapon that comes in the Gym Cannon Red, the Gym 2's Beam Rifle. Now, I was talking earlier about the construction of the beam spray gun because this is extremely high-grady in terms of build. It's a little disappointing, honestly. These are two halves to sandwich together, one part for the secondary handle here, one part for the scope, one part for the barrel. Very high-grady. There's no kind of like inner assembly that everything layers onto. It's just two halves to sandwich together with some stuff in between. So yeah, while I like how this looks, if you've been watching my videos for a little while, you will have seen this rifle before. This is the same rifle in the high-grade Gym 3. This really feels like that, just scaled up to 1/100th size. It looks fine, but I think I do prefer the spray gun a little bit with this kit. In terms of extra accessories, while you do have a ton of extra parts left over in the box, not really much you can use except for the two standard beam sabers that came with the Arc 78 2.0. You do not get any beam effects that come with it. Unfortunately, you'll have to provide those on your own. But yeah, these are here. I don't really think the Gym Cannon would look that great using it, considering it is a medium to long range support unit, but it is something you can use that comes in the box if you so choose. You will also get, besides the cannon, of course, which I don't really consider an accessory because it will be on the kit at all times, you also get two extra magazines for the cannon that can clip onto the back skirt here. They come in red on the runner. I have painted them in gray here. I probably should have done a coat or two extra. It looks, I don't know how you can see it on camera, but the red is shining through a little bit. It honestly looks a little rusty. If you put a little weathering on it, that might look pretty good. But yeah, just keep in mind you will have to paint this if you want to mount the extra magazines on the back skirt here. There isn't really anywhere to mount any of the handheld weapons on this kit on the kit itself. The mounting hole for the Hyper Bazooka on the back is blocked off by the back skirt, so yeah, you cannot make use of that. Getting into articulation then, in terms of upwards look, the Gym Cannon Red can look quite far up. Actually, this is pretty nice. You can actually point the cannon up and have the Gym looking in line to shoot at an upward target if you want. In terms of a downward look, it's a little disappointing compared to a lot of kits, but you can get a slight look downwards. Oh, just to note, another part I did paint on this kit, I did paint behind the visor in chrome there, just so you can see the details. It does look quite nice. You can 360 rotate on the joint here. Just be careful, the cannon does get in the way. Again, you don't want to break the antennas, so it's a lot better to take the cannon off if you want to spin it to 360, but of course it can't do that. Your side to side will be very limited towards the cannon shoulder, but in the other direction, you do get a pretty decent side tilt. Shoulders then, just like the other kits using this frame that I've reviewed in the past, the entire joint will slide out. Just be careful that you don't pop the shoulder off. The entire joint will slide out to give a very nice forward shoulder swing. The shoulder can rotate independently of the arm, and for a side raise, I did it earlier. It's a little hard to do, but the arm can do the full last shooting pose. Just be careful you don't pop the bicep off of the shoulder peg, and also just be careful to pop the joint back into the torso after you do that so you don't break anything. You will of course get full rotation in the upper bicep, double bend in the elbow as you would expect, some nice kind of armor separation and inner kind of mechanical details that shift when you do that, always nice to see. The hand will of course be on a ball joint that will do ball joint things inside this polycap in the forearm. Fingers we went over earlier, articulated hands. In terms of the torso then, as you might expect from seeing the side profile of it, you will get essentially no front crunch. The door gets in the way of the crotch very easily. You will get some fairly okay back crunch, but again, nothing really to write home about. You can 360 it, although there is a joint in between the torso connecting and the waist with the core block in between. You do have to kind of pop that joint out a little bit to get it to spin, otherwise you're limited to just under a 45 degree to either side. If you do pop it up, yeah, you can spin it around. Just be careful you don't break anything. This cannon, of course, this is as high as it goes. You can also tilt it down to shoot forward in front of the gym, or maybe a little bit downwards if you so choose. You can pivot it a little bit side to side. The magazine is removable, of course, so you can pose it either having spent a magazine or reloading a magazine, depending on what you want. No articulation on the backpack, as you might expect. For the cockpit then, this door will just open up. There's a kind of little sliding hatch here that will slide up to reveal a sitting pilot figure in there. I don't know how well you can see that. He's in the same dark gray as the rest of the core block, so kind of hard to see him, but he is in there. A full cockpit gimmick, as you would expect from a master grade. In terms of the waist then, the iron diaper that this is wearing, all the skirts kind of clip together to give an almost seamless look all around. If you want, you can slide it out. If you want, you can slide it out and up. It will go about 90 degrees to facilitate the leg articulation. And for kicks, of course, the side skirt's going to do the same, the back skirt's fixed in place. So for kicks then, in terms of front kicks, you will get just under 135 degrees, more than expected, quite nice. The side skirts do tend to pop off a little easily, so just be careful of that. Side kick, you will get about 90 degrees before the side skirts will want to pop off. Back kicks are going to be a little limited at 45 degrees. So in terms of kicks, more than expected on the front, side, and back are about as expected. And yeah, you see there the legs started to come out the poly cap, as I mentioned earlier. Knee bend. Full double bend as you would expect, although there's a small rack thing on the lower leg that collides with the thigh that impedes it from a full 180 degrees. Inner armor cap here on the knee frame, as is the case with all the other kits using this frame. Quite nice. Very nice inner piston detail there. So yeah, about what you would expect. Quite nice. Ankle armor does not articulate because it's just part of the lower leg armor here. The normal ankle armor is in there, but it's very hard to get at, and I don't think you're supposed to articulate it. It's just supposed to kind of be here, giving the impression of layered armor with the lower leg armor. So the foot then, there is heel, middle, and toe separation. The entire foot can't pivot forward quite far. Downwards very far, exposing some nice piston details there. And some okay side to side pivot, but this armor is quite thick and does impede that a bit. Again, with that toe separation, you can point the entire foot down, like so, or tilt up, so you can have it like kind of bracing on the ground more convincingly. So yeah, overall articulation, quite nice, as you would expect from the Master Grade Arc 72 2.0 frame. It's about average in a lot of aspects, with very good articulation in the arms, a little bit above average articulation in the legs, and very limited torso articulation, but I suspect that will not really be an issue with the kinds of poses you will want to have this kit in. Speaking of which, let's see it in some poses. So, starting with the usual running and gunning pose, getting the Master Grade Gym Cannon Red into a bit of a spin here with the beam spray gun in its right hand and the standard kind of Federation Gundam/Gym shield in its left. Well, as is typical for the Gundam, for the Master Grade Arc 78 2.0 frame, it is quite stable, and the new kind of feet parts that go on the bottom of the feet actually fit properly, so this kit can balance very easily, as opposed to something like the Master Grade Stormbringer PF, which had a lot of problems pulling off a similar level of balance, but I digress. The Gym Cannon in general is definitely a kit that looks a lot better on the ground, again, being a more basic kind of grounded one-year war era suit. I think the Jaburo Defense Force version is from Zeta, but anyway, this kit being more grounded, being a little more hefty, being a little more bottom heavy with that thicker lower leg armor, definitely looks a lot better on the ground. It actually looks surprisingly good in motion. This is one of those rare kits I would definitely consider posing it, doing a running and gunning pose, especially with this beam spray gun. That being a kind of smaller, more lightweight weapon, definitely looks a lot better when it's in use, kind of while the kit is posed as if it is in motion. This weapon is definitely like really fantastic with this kit. It fits in the hand perfectly. It actually stays in the hand, is very secure. We'll talk about that later. It's a bit of an issue with the Gym 2 rifle, but yeah, it fits completely fine. The shield also fits great, unlike something like the Real Grade Arc 78 2, that kit had a lot of trouble holding onto the shield. This does not. It clips in perfectly into the arm. It holds onto the handle just fine. It looks convincing. What more can I say? This is a great pose. The kit's very stable, and it works great. I would consider posing this on the shelf. Moving on to a crouching pose here with the Hyper Bazooka bazooka in its offhand and firing off the 240 millimeter, I think, rocket cannon on the shoulder. This is definitely a really great pose for this kit, like I mentioned earlier. Being a grounded, more basic one-year war era suit, this kit looks fantastic planted on the ground, and it kneels fantastically. A lot of kits do struggle to kind of hold a convincing kneeling pose, and even when they do, they can be kind of a pain to pose. This, I literally got it on the ground in a few seconds. Like, it's an incredibly easy poser. Definitely, if you want a kit to kind of practice poses on that isn't a pain to get into various poses, I would definitely recommend either the Gym Cannon if it's up on P Bandai, or if it's not and it's only really available via resellers, definitely the Master Grade Gym 2.0 is also great for practice. Like, it's extremely easy to pose, and it looks great. This is another one of those rare kits. I would consider posing it on my shelf kneeling. As a matter of fact, I'm recording this after I've filmed all the kind of B-roll for these poses. It is kneeling on my shelf right now. That is the pose I've decided to go with. It definitely looks fantastic. Planted like this, the Hyper Bazooka is a great weapon to pose with this kit, especially like being a kind of heavy-duty, more weapons-focused gym alongside that shoulder-mounted rocket cannon to kind of balance out the heavy firepower on the shoulders. It looks great. Definitely something that you should consider posing this kit doing on your shelf. I'm posing it doing it on mine. Of course, as shown in the accessories section, this kit does have an action-based adapter, and it can be used in the air. So here it is doing a kind of slightly sideways leap, aiming the rocket cannon on the shoulder manually with its right hand, holding the Gym 2 rifle in the offhand, kind of trailing behind it. This is a pretty cool pose. Definitely something I like a lot more than I was expecting to. The rocket cannon, being as long as it is, actually allows the Gym to manually hold the cannon as if it's aiming it with its arm, like downward, like the full armor Gundam could not, the Stormbringer could not, because their shoulder cannons are relatively a little stubby, despite the caliber being much larger. The barrels themselves being stubbier meant that they looked a lot more awkward if they tried to do it. This kit, with how long the barrel for the 240mm rocket cannon is, it can definitely pull off this kind of very convincing having to hold the cannon down and stabilize it to fire. Definitely kind of emphasizes the heft and power of it. But then that brings me to the weapon it is holding in its offhand, the Gym 2 rifle. Frankly, it sucks. It looks fine. Getting it to hold onto it is an absolute nightmare, because the problem is it's way too thin and flat. The relative thickness of the beam spray gun meant that it did have enough clearance for the tab to actually fully slot into the handle and hold it securely. The thinness of the Gym 2's rifle, while means that the kind of notch in the handle to fit the tab into, because it doesn't poke all the way through to the other side and it's a very shallow kind of notch, it doesn't actually fit securely into the hand. It's really only being held in place by the fingers, which means it's quite loose and easy to knock out, and it's very annoying to have it not fall out of the hand. While it's a fine inclusion to have with this version of the Gym Cannon, it being a pain in the ass for it to hold means I would definitely not consider posing this kit holding the Gym 2's rifle. So in conclusion, the Master Grade Gym Cannon Jaburo Defense Force Redhead is definitely a solid kit. The build for it is good, using the Master Grade Arc 78-2 2.0 frame and the Master Grade Gym 2.0 as a base, both of which are solid kits. I've built plenty of kits on this channel using the Master Grade Arc 78-2 2.0 frame. It is stable, it is good. The only downside with it is it's made of ABS, so you just need to be careful if you decide to paint or panel line it. Again, that plastic tends to react quite poorly to certain paints. It can get brittle and break. So as long as you do your due diligence, it is a perfectly serviceable frame that's quite easy to pose. It's quite stable. It's quite solid. I haven't had any kind of droopage or issues with stability on the kits that I've had for a few months now that have been using that frame. So yeah, build-wise, it is fine. And the only thing to note as a downside is it does have a bit of a slightly incomplete inner frame, with it missing some extra frame layering in the lower legs, but once it's fully assembled, this is not something you really pay attention to or notice, so that downside isn't super big in my book. Aesthetically, this kit is interesting in that you can build two different kind of color schemes for different configurations of it. The Jaburo Defense Force version of the Gym Cannon, seen in, I think, Zeta, or the Immortal 4th MS Team Custom, seen in 0083 Stardust Memory. The options that provides you is certainly interesting. It's a lot more variety than a lot of other kits gives, and if you want to build the Jaburo Defense Force version, it is almost entirely color accurate out of box. The only thing you really need to do to make it color accurate is apply the water slide for the Federation V in the crotch. The Immortal 4th MS Team Custom, that requires a little more work with some more water slides for the collar to make it color accurate in that kind of slightly orangey, like kind of 1 Year War era yellow instead of the red that the part is molded in. This kit aesthetically does suffer a little bit in that it is incredibly one note. It is an extremely red kit. If you don't like the color red, you're going to hate this color scheme. Honestly, I think the color scheme for the standard gym can is a lot more interesting, but again, kind of sculpting and geometry wise, it is a near perfect representation of a 1 Year War era gym. If you like kind of grunt suits or Federation suits or suits with visors on them and you haven't built a 1 Year War era gym kit yet, this is definitely one to consider, or at least the base gym can if you don't like this color scheme. It has all the appeal of the standard gym while adding a little bit of its own flair in the more bell-bottom, thicker lower leg armor, as well as, of course, the trademark large cannon on its shoulder, which contributes to quite a unique silhouette. Again, that cannon on the shoulder is a lot larger than a lot of other cannon units are, like on the Full Armor Gundam or the Stormbringer. Those cannons are relatively stubby, well, for 1 Year War era cannon units and kits based on them. Stuff like the V2 Assault Buster's shoulder equipment is quite large. But yeah, in terms of accessories, this kit has everything you would expect it to and more. The spray gun, the shield, of course that shoulder cannon, all expected, all quite nice. The addition of the Hyper Bazooka adds a little more boom for a kit that already has quite a bit of boom, and definitely gives it a lot of presence on the shelf, draws your eye a little more. You can definitely have it stand out on its own and look really cool as opposed to looking like another kind of generic grunt kit. Unfortunately, the one unique weapon that comes in the red head kit itself, the Jib 2's beam rifle, it's awful in terms of build. It is basically a scaled up high grade build with a gigantic seam line running down the middle that you're going to want to fix if that bothers you. And even posing it is a gigantic pain with how kind of shallow the notch for the peg in the hand is. It doesn't hold on to it at all. It is a giant struggle to get it to hold on to it stably, much more so than the rest of the kit, which I would say is extremely posable. As I mentioned earlier, if you just want a kit to kind of practice your posing ability on, the Master Grade Gym 2.0 or the Gym Cannon is an excellent option. They're both incredibly simple and easy posers that just work as you would expect it to. So would I recommend this kit? Absolutely. For the price, for $45, what you get in this box, it just works in this incredible way. That's simple, yet it has all the features you would want in a Master Grade. It is everything you could want from a 1 Year War era gym and more. Again, the only kind of thing I would hold against this kit, if you don't like red, this color scheme is a gigantic turnoff, and I would definitely recommend the standard Master Grade Gym Cannon over this. Otherwise, this is a fantastic kit and an excellent addition to any collection. So that was my review of the Master Grade Gym Cannon Red Head Jaburo Defense Force Custom. Quite a mouthful of a name, I know. What did you think of this kit? Let me know in the comments below. If you like reviews like these, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you like this video, give it a like. And I'll see you, hopefully, in a few days with my review of the high-grade D Gundam First. As of recording this video, I should be getting the P-Bandai shipment with it tomorrow. It's a little delayed. Honestly, I was expecting it a couple of weeks ago, but better late than never, right? So I'm really looking forward to building that kit, and I'll see you then.